So I'm Matt, I'm from Rusty Monkey, and we are going to be talking. Is this where we want to be? Yeah, we are talking today about a topic that I think is pretty close to all of our hearts here, which is old Windows. What went wrong? I thought I'd start with a story. So a few years ago, we needed to replace our windows. This is a picture of our exact house and our exact windows. So I went on a little journey. My first experiences were awful, as I actually got double glazing salesmen sat around our house being awful. And they are as bad as you think they are if you've ever had to deal with them. It was an awful experience. The quote was £4 billion for some new windows, and I thought, this is ridiculous. It's only putting in some windows. I can do this. So I started looking at the DIY route. I've got a good friend who's a builder. He's fit some windows before. So we thought, let's go, let's have a look. So I needed to find a place online where I could reliably buy some windows from. Now, I'm a designer. I'm a brand guy. I've been in e-commerce for a long time. And you can imagine my horror when I landed on this website. I didn't put this on here. This was on their website. This design offended me in so many ways. I could barely survive the ordeal of it with starbursts, and I do believe that might be Comic Sans. If you're a designer, you know how offensive that can be. My trust levels just plummeted straight away. I thought, you guys, frankly, are not going to get my money. So I hunted around. This wasn't a heck of a lot better with its giant warning sign. And then I thought, well, how about these guys? Maybe I'll get my windows from this company. Just Value Doors, they were called, which instantly kind of put me off. Or the even more baffling, justdoorsuk.com. Or as I read it, justandwindowsdoorsuk.com, UK's leading DIY double glazing supplier. So bafflingly, and I'm not sure why, I went back to these mad bastards. And I thought, well, maybe there's something in this. Maybe this is what this market looks like. I'm going to give these guys a chance. Now, to be fair to this company, they have since redesigned their website. And it is still pretty horrible, but slightly better. Very, very slightly better. Now, when I went on my journey, what I actually found from this bizarre, horribly designed experience was they had put so much thought and effort into their user experience. And maybe I was so literally blinded with bleeding tears at how bad their design was that their user experience just seemed to shine incredibly to me. But they did lots of things really, really well. They had like a page with videos on it where I could learn stuff. I could even watch 2 videos asynchronously if I wanted to. And aside from that, they sort of really helped you through the journey. They helped you understand some of the legislation around it, the building regulations. When you're going through their window designer system, they really helped me not make any mistakes and get the product really right. And I was so surprised at how much effort and work had gone in behind the scenes. Being a bit of a developer, I know how much work this would be. And I guess this is one of the really valuable lessons that I would like to share with us all, which, not always, but the vast majority of the time, your user experience trumps your user interface design. By which we mean the journey that you take people on, how you communicate to them, taking them from A to B, making sure their questions are answered, is more impactful than the size of your buy now button or the colour of your branding. That stuff's important, but UX trumps it. Here's where it gets really fuzzy and confusing, because customer journey is fuzzy and confusing. It's messy. It's not linear. It's not straightforward. We also know that brand can trump user experience, which can trump UI design. Obviously, UI design is part of your brand, so this is circular, it's messy, it's very confusing. But there's evidence to support this. I mean, you could think of Patagonia. Their site is clunky in places, but they do a great job with their brand. They do something that people believe in. Dr. Martens, anybody who knows me knows I always bring up Dr. Martens because I get to slag off their logo, which is shit. But their branding is very, very good. They have a very good brand. People will put up with their terrible logo, and they'll put up with not always a great buying experience. Then we've got these guys, Supreme. This baffling, to me, baffling, successful brand. They're kind of a skater brand. And I thought, I'm going to check out their website. I'm just going to see how bad this is. And this is their e-commerce store. This is their homepage, and this is how you select products. And this is it. It's total chaos. The user experience is dreadful. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm going to buy this T-shirt. This T-shirt will do. I'll buy this T-shirt. That's pants. You can't search. You can't do anything. But they're successful. One of the speakers talked about FOMO. They did this thing where every Thursday they would release a new shipment of stuff. And they created this scarcity product. And people put up with this crap because they stand out. Their brand stands out. So what have we learned from this? We've learned that these things, they're all intertwined in a way. And once you master all three of these pillars, that's when you can see some real success in terms of not just e-commerce, but actually connecting well with your audience. But how? I hear you all scream. Go on, Mark. Thank you, mate. Well, there's loads of ways of doing it, but I guess what I wanted to share with you today is something useful, something that you can take away. So, one of the things a lot of the other speakers have talked about as well a little bit is like funnels or customer journey or user journey. We're going to step up a little bit above from just e-commerce, and we're going to think about your brand as a whole and your customer as a user. And you don't need 6 months and a massive agency budget to be able to do this. You can do this in a day. We've done this in a day, actually. We've at least started this journey in a day. So what we're going to do is share with you how to put together a really simple customer journey map. So along this side, the vertical side, you start by listing all of your touch points. You look at what your customer is actually doing at certain points in that. And what are they thinking and how are they feeling? Are they feeling positive? Are they feeling happy? What's literally going on in their minds? And along this side, the lower part, the horizontal thing, you start mapping out that journey. Now, one of the speakers did talk about a little part of that journey, the e-commerce part, the funnel part. That could sit somewhere in the middle here. But inevitably, you're always going to have your first exposure. There's a point when nobody knows who you are, and then they know who you are. They've seen something. They've been exposed to some touch point that makes them now aware of your presence as a brand. Heck, it could be anything. It could be Google Ads, it could be a social media post, it could be word of mouth, your website, somebody might see your actual product somewhere. It could be brand ambassadors. We had a great talk about the importance of influencers. They might be the first exposure that people might have to your brand. It could be print adverts, installation guides, it could be anything. What are they doing at this point in time? Well, they might be looking for the right product online. They might be at home visiting a friend or something, or a friend might visit with the product. They might be thinking, oh, I've just experienced this brand. Is this right for me? What does this company actually stand for? Are they reputable? Should I buy from them? Do I care? All of these kind of things. And they're going to feel a certain way when they're exposed to your brand. Are they excited? Are they confused? Is their first exposure to your brand somebody absolutely slating your product, giving it a 1-star review? If so, these are the things that you can expose and you can start surfacing. When you start, and we recommend, just get a giant whiteboard, a load of sticky notes, and just throw it out there. You need about 3 or 4 people who understand your customer really well to be able to do this. It doesn't have to be a huge team. And it should be bouncy. You should bounce around from the touch point to the doing and the doing to the touch point. So when somebody says, well, we do YouTube ads, you can dig down, you can get quite granular into the activity that they might be doing on YouTube. Maybe they're looking for a how-to video related to your business. Maybe they're just watching cartoons, mindlessly doom scrolling, watching ASMR videos, a podcast about hiking. Is that relevant? Is that relevant to what you're doing? Maybe they're just looking at cat videos. If you're exposing an ad to people who are watching cat videos, is that useful? Maybe, if you're selling cat food. Maybe they're planning a holiday. And with each of these, you can kind of ask yourself, what are they thinking at this particular point in time? And that lets you steer the right content to the right person watching the right thing at the right time. And you can make like really good connections that way. And how are they feeling? Are they violently angry watching ASMR videos? I doubt it. Maybe. They're probably angry mindlessly doom scrolling. Maybe the podcast about hiking is really frustrating them because they're not saying the thing that they want to hear. They're not getting the knowledge they want to hear. Well, that's an opportunity for you to put something in front of them that could work. And let's flip this around. Maybe when you dig down into your customers and you understand them better, maybe you determine that they are visiting an art gallery. It's something that they do. Well, this opens up touch points that you may never have considered before. And this kind of dialogue, once you get a few people together, just explodes out ideas in terms of things that you can do. Visiting an art gallery, what could we do? I don't know, maybe we could do some handouts, or maybe they've got digital displays or billboards outside the actual venue. Could you be super smart? Find out what art gallery they're going to and make sure your adverts are in the tube station near to those people. Are there sponsorship opportunities for the installation, social media partnerships, vouchers at the gift shop? I don't know. Maybe they've got a bar and you can do some branded bottles of Prosecco if they're Prosecco drinkers. After you do this, you will build a giant map that looks something like this. It will be messier than this, but I can only fit so much on a slide. You get kind of a little rough tracking at the top of how they're feeling overall across your touch points. You should start exposing touch points that you have that aren't good enough for your customers. And you should make them probably the most important thing that you can then elevate to make a really significant difference of the way you start conversing and dealing with your potential customers. You'll also find some that are good, but you could elevate, make them better. And you'll also find some that you don't know that you didn't know you needed. And that's a really cool thing about doing this. Now, we just made a journey up here. It's a little bit based on my window experience. But your journey could be very different. But let's go back to my experience with our favourite window company. My first exposure was not good. It was not good. So bad that I left straight away. They were fortunate that all of their competitors were equally shit and confusing, that I actually went back just out of curiosity. They were very lucky that my first impression, and my first impression still stands as well. The first impression is one of the most important parts of your customer journey, because no matter what they do in the future, that sticks with me, that horror show of a UI design. After my first exposure, I did go back and I did go in and I did start researching, and they had pretty good social proof on there. They had a very good 5-star rating, lots of reviews, lots of reassuring signals for me. They answered lots of questions, so much so by the time I was purchasing, I was feeling pretty confident. Then, as we all get when we spend a lot of money, post-purchase remorse hit me right in the guts. Like when you buy your new iPhone and you go, oh, did I need that? Have I really done it? They did okay around here. I got some decent enough emails from them, and adopting really good tech partners like Digital and these other people that can really send the right piece of information to them at the right time in their journey can make a significant impact on this post-purchase remorse, which we all feel. By the time it was being delivered, well, it was all right. They'd sent me lots of stuff. I knew when it was coming. Maybe they sent me a bit too much stuff. I'm like, yeah, I know it's coming on this date. I'm okay, I will be in. And then we're going to get to the installation. Now, here's where I'm going to pause just for a second, because building these customer journey maps, it can be challenging. There can be a lot of thought that goes into it. And sometimes it's like, well, where's the value? What am I actually doing here? But it doesn't have to be expensive. The small things you can do to make a difference to your customer. So I was like thinking back to what I was actually doing when I was installing the windows. What was I doing and what was I thinking? Well, I was covered in crap for a start as I demolished my old wooden windows. I was stopping for tea. It was cold. It was raining a bit outside. I was doing it with the builder and going, oh, is this right? This looks a bit wonky to me. I'm not sure. My confidence was iffy. Now, at this point, the Windows company had gone. They weren't really doing anything for me. But they wouldn't have had to do much here. They wouldn't have had to, like, break the bank or do something that made me feel considered at this very specific point in time. Maybe, like, they could have sent me a Spotify playlist. I would probably have hated it because it wouldn't have had any brutal death metal on it. But I would have felt appreciated a little bit. I might have put it on and then slated them in this exact same speech. But it would have been nice. Maybe, and this is my real point, my friends, maybe they could have sent me a free tea bag. Would that break the bank? No. Where's my free tea bag, everybody? Maybe they could have been really smart about it. If they knew the weather was going to be cold, they could have sent me some gloves. Or if they knew it was going to be really hot, maybe they could send me some sun cream. The more you think about what people might be doing after they've made a purchase, whatever you sell, it can be B2B, it can be B2C. At some point, they're going to be doing something with it, they're going to be using it, they're going to be experiencing it. Can you help elevate that experience for them? Well, I started using my windows. What can I say? The windows. They open, they do their job. I'm fairly happy. I'm happy that we didn't break anything, and it still works. But was I left happy and thrilled enough to be a brand advocate for this window company, enough to go online and leave a 5-star review? No, I wasn't. But here's the thing. They wouldn't have had to do much to make me that happy. Their user experience was excellent. Their after sales was pretty good. We had a problem with one of the windows, they replaced it straight away. The customer service was good. I believe all they needed to do was not have a horror show of a website that made my eyes bleed and send me a fucking free tea bag. And I'd have been pretty happy. I'd have gone, excellent, I've got my free tea bag. They've even sent me a bourbon. Excellent work. Now, at these talks, everybody wants some boring stats, right? It's important that we understand the purpose of doing this. I thought I'd try and make this slide more interesting by being influenced by the amazing justandwindowsdooruk.com logo. So these aren't just boring stats. They are just boring but important stats, UK.com, UK's leading DIY ChatGPT generated stats provider. I did check the ChatGPT generated stats, but I think that's an important thing to share. ChatGPT, we rely on a lot for all of this kind of stuff nowadays. I'm going to be transparent. Yeah, I went on ChatGPT. I tried to find out exactly what the results of this were, and then I had to double check it because ChatGPT, as we all know, is a gaslighting bastard. So here are your stats. If you want to nod off, this is the time. If you do this well, it is proven that you can stop competing on price. Companies with a customer experience mindset drive 4 to 8% higher revenue than competitors. It's fueled by buyers that will pay more for a greater customer experience. People like to talk about Amazon a lot. We all do. We all buy from Amazon. B2B people, they're like, well, everything is price driven. But B2B businesses still buy from Amazon. But everybody knows Amazon's more expensive than going over here. But they buy from them because they offer a specific service, a specific brand, very fast delivery, lots of confidence. So they buy from another business over here. They will pay more. Benefit number 2. This will help you hit your growth and improve your profits, your growth targets and improve your profits. And companies that lead in customer experience outperform others by nearly 80% in sales growth. AI-powered, we talked about AI a little bit, but the customer experience enhancements can really reduce your operational cost by 30%. I mean, it's significant to understand this when you look at your customer journey and those parts of the customer journey that you can see might be weak. It's not a case of sitting somebody down and having to work through a load of stuff to fix that. Often these things can be fixed with AI and technology and automation. There are tools out there to help make that journey work better for the customer without relying on human resources in the middle to make all of this magic happen. You could probably automate sending out tea bags. I'm just saying. Benefit number 3, and this is the real one I think, is gaining loyal brand advocates, improving your ratings, and spending less money on marketing. Here I am. a marketing agency telling you to spend less money on marketing. But I genuinely believe, well, let's do a quick poll. The merchants in the place. How many of you spend money on Google AdWords? How many of you like spending money on Google AdWords? None of us, right? There's one winner from Google AdWords, and that's Google, as we all bid for the keywords and our margins get squashed. If you do better with your brand and you do better with your customer journey, these things will improve, and you can scale down your advertising spend and put it to better use elsewhere. Loyal customers are 5 times more likely to repurchase and 4 times more likely to refer a brand to others. 32% of customers will walk away from a brand after just one bad experience. A third of people will walk away from you if you give them one bad touch point. And I saw some evidence that said it takes about 12 or 13 positive experiences after that to make up for the one bad one. And actually, the piece of work I saw was talking about relationships as well. If you do something bad to somebody you love, you need like 13 positive things to help get over that a little bit. 13 years was that someone? Was that you, Mark? What have you been doing, mate? I genuinely believe it just may be the best thing you've ever done if you do this, uk.com. So it can be really significant. It can make a massive difference to you. And another important takeaway is this customer journey that you can do it in a smaller scale. Don't just stop at building this one customer journey. Revisit it. You should be constantly on it, looking at your touch points, looking at what you can improve. But you could do smaller parts of that, like just the e-commerce experience, for instance, or just the shopping experience, or just the checkout experience. You could start doing just what your in-store experience feels like. That's a small customer journey in its own right. Starbucks have a giant map for what their in-store customer experience is like. You can do it for your recruitment. You put a job advert out into the world. People see it, right? This is a public thing. They get to see what your job descriptions look like, how much you might be paying your team, what that workplace experience is. What's it like on that journey when somebody applies for a job, gets recruited, gets onboarded, starts working there, eventually quits because they hate you? Who knows? But these user journeys can be really significant in working out how to improve your brand touch points across your entire organization. And at the very least, if you do nothing else, if you start giving away free tea bags, you're going to make me happy and support the British breakfast tea industry. Thank you very much. I will take some. Just Q&AUK.com. Any questions?
How are the windows holding up?
They're holding up well, thank you. Yeah, they're good. I've still got some plasterboarding to do around it, so maybe if I had paid for Everest to come in, that would be completed. But other than that, it's snug and warm. Thank you for asking. Yes, please.
Do you think, like you mentioned, like the tea bag, obviously, do you think some of these kind of post-sales elements could backfire? So, for example, if you send someone a tea bag and they hate tea, they might be disgruntled. Or if you send them sun cream but they've got sensitive skin and they can't use it, then they might be environmentally conscious and think, this company's wasting money and energy in certain ways.
I 100% agree with you there. Yeah, I do. Yeah, personalisation is definitely an answer there. Or really knowing your customers. And you're always going to have a percentage of people that aren't going to like something that you do. But the important thing is, you don't have to appeal to everyone. You just have to appeal to the customers that you really care about and love and will be considered. So, you know, if you are sending stuff out and it's pissing a load of people off, you'll find out pretty quickly. But maybe they're not your people anyway. You know, maybe you should only be selling to tea drinkers. What's wrong with you, you monster? So yeah, I can 100% see some things backfiring or looking at wastage. I mean, if your customers are generally eco-friendly minded and you understand their demographic and their social graphics and their psychometrics and you've gone that deep, you can make really valuable decisions on what they're doing and what they're thinking at the time. And test it as well, test it in your brain. If you're finding that they are doing certain things in that post-purchase part, then you could go, well, well, maybe we should send them a plastic toy. But then you go, well, what would that feel like for them? well, they'll probably feel a bit infantilized and angry that they've got a load of plastic crap in the post. So if you know your audience, you should know what they will respond well with, I would say. And it's not about sending them stuff. It's about understanding what they're doing and how you can give them valuable touch points. Yes, please.
Isn't there a counter-argument here to say these companies build websites that look just crap enough? So you don't think, goodness, they're overcharging me on the price of the windows because they've got this swanky website.
Well, you're so right. I mean, I bought from them, right? I did go back and I bought from them. So, yes, I can agree with that, and I can certainly see that. And there was a website, I can't remember the domain of it, but they purposefully built this mad, crazy experience and made it kind of fun. I genuinely don't believe these people were doing that. I think they generally, thought that this was...
I think all builders merchants websites,
Mhm.
Wix, Howdens, they're all deliberately shit. Because they want you in store, they want you, buying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to respond to that in a way. I believe, I'm a designer. I don't believe they're shit on purpose. I just believe they're shit. And I think it's as simple as that. And I think of like there's other spaces, isn't there? Like lawyers and, I don't know, recruitment. Oh man, hands up who likes recruitment and recruiters. Nobody. Nobody. Oh, two people over there. Okay, amazing. Well, you're weird. But if you look at the recruitment market, the way most recruiters approach everybody is just aggressive, salesy, weird, and unpleasant. There's a space to be the building merchant that does design something nice, and it will attract a different audience. They will stand out. They will zig when everybody else is zags. And that's how you really win through brand, UI, and UX, is you focus on all three, and you'll stand out because somebody out there will definitely pay more for your experience than the crap one next to it. Anyone else? How am I doing on time? I think that's me. I was exactly 30 minutes, but I started 2 minutes late. Thank you very much.